Okay, guys, we're live. As long as you join me live and you can hear me, drop a comment so that I know you are here and you can hear me. As soon as you join me live and you can hear me, drop a comment so that I know you can hear me. As long as can you hear me? Hello, I can see it loud and clear. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, everyone, it's the final day, the last day of the Digital World Summit, and I'm wondering, okay, loud and clear, loud and clear. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, Comfort. Thank you for joining me, Festus. Vincent Umar, thank you for joining. Festus Ikama, Victor Chimerezi. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So while we're waiting for our guest tonight to come on the show, he's actually trying to join on this show as we speak. While we're waiting for him, I want to quickly ask you questions. Guys, so far so good. Ebenezer Adama says I can hear you. Thank you very much, Ebenezer. So share with us in the comment section. Have you learned anything? Have you been blessed in this Digital World Summit? Have you gained something? Have you learned something new? What have you learned? What has been the biggest take for you in this Digital World Summit so far? So drop a comment, leave a comment, let me know. Drop a comment, leave a comment in the comment section so we know, okay, how has the Digital World Summit so far helped you? You had the first session, essential skills to thrive. You had the second session as well. Then we looked at the okay. The first was essential skills to thrive regardless of your industry. The second day of the summit, we looked at essential skills to thrive in the digital marketing space. And the third day, third session, we also looked at skills that you need on social media to thrive in the social media space. How to leverage social media for whether for business or for your own to thrive in the new decade. And then we moved on from there and look at content creation, the evergreen opportunities available in the content creation world. And we also looked at different areas that you need to thrive in e-commerce, how you can thrive in e-commerce. And tonight we're going to be looking at lessons from 10,000 hours of trading Forex. Lessons from 10,000. Someone that has traded Forex for over 12 years. Arguably Africa's number one Forex coach. And he'll be live. And not just only will he be live this evening, he'll be sharing with us a free ebook, giving everyone on the show a free ebook that you can use. So just drop your comments and let me know what you have learned in the summit so far. 100% return in 1 year. Okay. That was from the first day. Okay, our guest is here, just setting up behind the scenes, but he'll be here shortly. I can't see the comments. Keep the comments coming in. What have you learned in the summit so far? So our guest is already in the waiting room, and in any moment will be live here with us. Okay. Okay. Sell what people. Conversation. She's learned that she needs to sell what people need or want, but are not readily available to them. Okay. Daniel Woji says that he has learned that he should master his time. Yes, from the content writing session we had, she taught a lot about mastering our time. Okay, guys. Okay. A wonderful good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
Fantastic. A wonderful good evening, sir. Good to see you again today.
It's good to be here again.
Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for
And
having
sir,
me.
we've all been anticipating this session, and everybody has been looking up forward to this session.
Great. I'm glad to get things started.
Okay, okay. So guys, we're gonna get things started quickly, but of course we need to introduce our guests for those of us because between Monday and today, a handful of people have joined. So we just go through again so that you know who we are on to. I just share screen now. Okay, so yes, let's do this. Share screen application. Okay. So someone said the voice of money.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay. I guess today is Africa's number one Forex coach, the founder of the Profitable Investor Network. He's a husband, father, and preacher, and is on a mission to raise 70 kingdom billionaires before his 70th birthday. And tonight, everybody on the show will be getting a free Forex ebook. So, an ebook you can use to get started quickly. And the link is already in the description. If you check it, there's already a link in the description section right now to download that ebook. So you can open it in a new tab and join us quickly so that you don't miss out on the why you download that ebook and join us so that you don't miss out. And so our guest tonight is the one we call the ancestor. Ejimi Adigbe. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome again, sir.
Thank you so much, MH Gideon. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, sir, we've done a bit of introduction. I know this is just very fair. So, you might want to do a quick heads up for us, and because today we're talking about lessons from 10,000 hours of trading forex. And so 10,000 hours is a big deal. So, introduce yourself to us and again in your own words and tell us how do you get to 10,000 hours of trading forex? How do you even get started? Not talk of 10,000 hours. That's a big deal.
Okay, so my name is Olufukeji Ejimi Adigbe. My friends call me Ejimi, and I am a chartered wealth manager. I'm an ex-bank trader. I traded for the second largest investment bank in Nigeria. I was on a 5-man trading team, and I'm also the founder of the Profitable Investor Network, an online platform that connects financial markets investors and aspiring billionaires. I'm also the creator of the Forex Wealth Flow methodology, which is a 5-step process that shows you how to use Forex trading to grow richer on your own terms, so you can one day afford to do what matters most to you with those who matter most to you. Happily married to Hope Maria Adigbe, aka Sweetness Cakes KD, the best baker in northern Nigeria. And I have a daughter and I have a son. So that's basically me. Yes. How did I get started in Forex? Okay, well, I've always wanted to be rich because of my background, because of the things I saw growing up, because I saw the role that money plays in the life of the African man, the African father. and I saw how poverty can really rubbish you. So I made up my mind to be financially free from an early age. This led me to do my first business at, I think, 16. I started making shirts, designing shirts, and I did the contract in school. When I got to school, I used to sell shirts. So I've always wanted to be wealthy. And then there was a person who was toasting my sister, a young man who was quite wealthy. And I always wondered what he was doing. And
Okay.
he eventually married my sister years later. So,
Wow.
yes. So, but back then in school, he used to do a lot of, he had cash for a student or for and I was so surprised. I mean, when I say cash, I mean a lot of cash. So I was always wondering how. So he had this group of friends who used to invest in the stock market. He was also a stock market investor. And at a point in time, they mentioned something called Forex. This was 2008. So that was my first time of seeing real life capital investors. Different people earn a living through different means. The four major legal ways, as Robert Kiyosaki outlined in Cash Flow Quadrant, is being employed, you earn a salary as a worker and employee, or running your own business, you own the business, you pay yourself a salary, or you run a big business, a corporation, meaning you've gathered and organized people, teams of people who work, and you own that system and you earn from that system, or you're a capital investor, you make money from money. So that was my first time of seeing capital investors, people who make money, growing money. And that thing really stuck in my head. And I saw the possibilities that existed. I was in three or final year. So that was my first time. So my love for money, which led me into business, my desire to be financially free early, that love translated or moved me into financial markets. And
Okay.
some spiritual encounters I had too, where God was asking me, what would you do if you had all the money in the world? And I started telling him all the things I would do, how I would make a difference. And he asked me, why are you not doing it? And I said, because I don't have all the money in the world. And he said I should find out how people that have a lot of money make their money. And then I found out that basically there are only four areas. Most of the wealthy people you see today who are entrepreneurs, who are self-made, who made clean money, made it either from real estate, made it from ICT, information technology, made it from financial services, or made it from mass retail or oil and gas, those five areas. Any wealthy person you see today is these five areas. If it's not these five areas, it's very rare. So out of all of those five, real estate, information technology, mass retail, or what people call e-commerce, or anything mass retail, whether it's online or offline, mass retail, oil and gas, and then financial services, predominantly investing. So the only one that was easy for me to do as a young person was financial services. That's how I got into financial markets, securities trade.
Wow.
Did it on my own for a while, and then said, let me find out how this thing is done in the bank. By activating the laws of favor, activating law of honor, I was able to get a job in the bank and on the trading team. I was the only person in that team that didn't read economics, accounting, or stockbroking. I read design in school, and all my other colleagues in that five-man trading team were economists, accountants, stockbrokers, banking and finance graduates. In fact, they had this joke that I knew the owner of the bank, and I was like, if I knew the owner of the bank, believe you me, I would not be a salary earner. I would not ask him for a job. I would ask him for an opportunity, a business deal or something. So I did that for a while, and then I left to go back working in brokerage again before I left 4 years ago to fully focus on working for myself, working from home, so I can have time for my family. So that's pretty much the summary of how I got started. And that's why, 2008 was the first time I took my first trade as a copper, Sokoto.
Okay.
I remember when I was serving, because I was with the NCCF, I was a
Okay.
transport and organizing secretary. So there was a day two coppers
Wow.
were arguing, yes, state transport and organizing. So two coppers were arguing over money, someone was owing someone. And I remember I was trading that particular day. I think I made like 50,000 that day. And like $400. Exchange rate was 120 that time. I can never forget that day. I didn't know how to show, I didn't know whether to show them my laptop that as told you were arguing over money. I just made times three of that money. So that was when I started learning how to trade. Of course, I lost all that money in less than a year, but it was a good time. I learned a lot of painful lessons, some that took me 3, 4 years, 5 years to come out of. You know, learned how to work under pressure, how to stay sane when you are owing money, when they are threatening you, when police. But it accelerated my life lessons. It accelerated my
Okay.
life lessons. Yes. So
Okay.
yeah.
So now, I think we just jump straight to this part of the questions now. Now, you
Okay.
said you learned a lot of had a lot of painful experiences and learned a lesson. So, sir,
Yes.
what are some of those striking, painful experiences? I remember you telling me how you're on a bike looking for get
Oh,
internet
I
and
remember
lost over
that.
$5,000 or something.
$5,000. $5,000.
Sir,
I used to
how are
serve
you
in Sokoto. I
okay?
used to serve in Sokoto. In fact, the first modem I bought, there was no MTN Friendship Center in Sokoto. So I had to stay by the mast, one of the major masts, knowing that they would come to do diesel drop off with their Hilux. So I used to go there frequently. So I went to the mast one day when I saw the Hilux and I went to meet the guys and I said, I need a modem. This Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi, this USB modem. I remember I bought it 28,000 naira and I loaded it with 4,000 naira. So everything was 32,000. This modem that is 3.5 now, I bought it in 2008.
Hmm,
So I bought
interesting.
it from the engineer at the mast. And I remember the guy looking at me and the guy saying, Copper, what do you want to use this thing to? I said, what's your business? He said, will not sell it to me. That it's either I'm doing Yahoo or I'm trading Forex. Now for a copper to be spending 30,000 on model. And because I was state toss with NCCF, she said I must be doing Forex. I didn't want to say I collected the modem and I left. So when I came home on holiday from Sokoto to Lagos, I can never forget. I didn't know that there were all these hackers who had hacked MTN lines. So MTN data in Lagos was horrible compared to MTN in Sokoto. So the first 2, 3 days, internet was horrible and I
Yeah.
couldn't resolve it. So I was on a trade and because my modem was not
Wow.
working, I had to be going around on a bike with my laptop open. Those are the days when I used to trade GBP, JPY on 30% of my account, 40% of my account. And the guy that taught me the strategy told me that the market can never go more than 400 pips against you. The market can never. That thing taught me a lesson. Anytime somebody tells you something in Forex that something can never happen, just ask them how long they've been trading. Because that guy had been trading for less than
Okay.
a year. So in that 1 year, the market had never gone against him 400 pips. Because of that, he now said
Wow.
the market can never do it. So anytime someone meets me and says, it seems like this is how the market always behaves, I always ask them, how long have you been trading? I say, you have not seen that thing yet. Don't say it doesn't behave. So the guy said it can never.
Okay.
And that very day, I was in GT Bank, I can never forget. They used to have chairs in the bank that time. There was this big screen, CNN, something happened to the dollar. I was trading Euro USD. Something happened to the dollar as the news just came out. And I saw the price of Euro USD scrolling at the bottom of Bloomberg screen. I didn't even need to check the laptop again. I knew the account was gone because I couldn't
Wow.
find internet to access. I went to MTN office. I wanted to help myself with one of their screens. Just carry the screen and say, "Oh, That's why when I tell you don't trade without stop loss. Whether your analysis is right or wrong, you will not have access to the laptop to close the trade, even if you are right. So always put your stop loss, always put even if you don't put your take profit, put your stop loss. Yeah? So those are one of the many stories we have. So, yeah, one of the other things that I...
Wow, fantastic.
Okay, yes. So, generally, the lesson that thing taught me is that anything can happen in the market, and that something has not happened in a long while does not mean that thing cannot happen. I think it's Nasir, the writer, that calls it a black swan event. A black swan. Most swans are white, but every now and then he has this theory that every now and then you will see a black swan. Now, I don't know if black swans actually really exist, but he's saying that something doesn't exist doesn't mean it cannot happen in the financial market. That it has never happened before does not mean it cannot happen. For example, about a week ago, we saw crude oil futures hitting negative, minus. It has never happened before. But yeah, it happened last week. So that something has not happened in the markets does not mean it doesn't have the potential to. So yes, that's it.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Yeah. Okay, now that you shared this with us, so always bear in mind, if you're out there and you're thinking, okay, I want to trade, I would like to learn how to trade, there's something that's never happened before, or you're just beginning trader, something that's never happened before does not mean it will never happen or it cannot happen. So you always have that consciousness. Yes. Sir, let's now go on to the lessons you learned after 10,000 hours of trading. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sure you've learned. Yes. What are some of those striking lessons that you've learned after? I mean, you've been 10,000 hours in the Forex market, and I would like to share with us.
Okay. Apart from the things that I've clearly seen in the markets, I'll talk about things about myself and then things in the market. First thing that trading taught me is that people are inherently greedy and fearful. Why I like trading is trading accelerates your outcomes. So it reveals who you are to you very quickly. So if you are an impatient person, trading will reveal it to you. If you are a greedy person, trading will reveal it to you. If you are a fearful person, trading will reveal it to you. And the timely revelation of these character flaws helps you to address them. Because of how rapid the feedback is, if you're doing something wrong in trading, the market will tell you immediately so you can adjust it. So overall, trading made me a better person, even as a businessman, because some businesses don't have that short feedback period. You can be doing the wrong business for 1 year, 2 years, and not know, because it takes time for those losses to come in. But trading is not like that. So trading helps me to identify who I really am in terms of my personality and the emotions that I need to control, and help me to work on those emotions and ultimately become a better person. So that's what trading did for me as a person. I'll go into what I learned about the markets, but what I learned about myself. So it showed me my weaknesses very early and very quickly. So after 10,000 hours, I was able to work on those, and it sharpened my acumen, my business acumen. So that's the first thing. Another thing that trading did for me is trading showed me how that when it comes to the issue of money, when it comes to the issue of wealth, when it comes to the issue of finance, principles are key. In trading, you don't succeed by luck. Nobody is ever sustainably profitable as a trader by luck. It just doesn't happen. If you are getting consistent profitable results in trading, you are obeying laws. So the second thing that trading did for me, trading showed me how that life, business, finance, profit is about adherence and application of laws. Adherence to and application of laws. success in everything is achieved when you follow the laws or the rules of engagement in that area. So trading showed me how that life is extremely lawful, how that in life you are paid for the laws you align to, and you are punished for the laws you break. So that's something else that trading taught me. So every time I'm going into a new field, into a new relationship, into a new opportunity, into a new friendship, into a new anything, I try to find out what are the laws that govern success in this area, because trading showed me that success is never accidental. Sustainable success is never accidental. Sustainable success is purely intentional. So that's what trading taught me about life. So I don't know if anybody is understanding that. And I realized that success, especially financial success, does not does not succumb to sincerity. I think I need to say this. This is one thing that trading did for me. You know, most people believe if they are sincere, if they are nice, if they are good, if they are kind, they will succeed financially. It's not exactly true. Once the activity you are engaged in has laws, regardless of your personality, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of your creed, if you align to those laws that govern that area, the laws will work for you. I remember in the early stages of my trading when I would be doing, I would be losing, maybe I'm in a losing position. I'll start praying. I'll say, Lord God, if you can just help me. I was not even a trader. I was not a forex trader. I was a forex prayer warrior. I was doing more of praying than trading. I was doing more of hoping than analyzing. I'll be praying. Different covenants I'll make with God. Oh God, if you can just deliver me from this trade. I'll say, is it not better to give you this money as tithe or as offering than for it to be consumed in the market? And I will see the way, regardless of the eloquence of my prayers, that money will still blow. And I'm like, God, where were you? Till I realized that when it comes to the subject of finance, sincerity is not enough.
Okay.
Good intentions are never enough. There
Wow.
must be real competence. Real competence. So I remember one time I was selling euro USD and I was praying, the thing was buying. I don't remember the currency pair. As I started trading fully dressed, I ended trading wearing only
Really?
boxers. Under AC, sweating. I said, God, please, if you can just help me. And I said, the thing was
Okay.
going up instead of coming down. I said,
Interesting.
Lord, please make it come down. And God said, what if a fellow Christian is on the other side of this street? Whose prayer will I now answer? I now realized that instead of me praying for God to intervene in the trading activity, it's better for me to pray before I trade, that God should just show me how to trade. Because so praying when I'm in the trade is irrelevant. So my prayers changed from, oh God, help this trade to go in the correct direction, to Lord, please show me the secret, the laws that I must
Wow.
understand. Um, in with
Yeah.
regard to trading. So I realized that there are laws, there are principles that that when you exploit them, they will give you an edge in this market. And regardless of your psychology, regardless of your sincerity, regardless of your personality, if you follow those laws, you will have a minimum level of success. And that's how it is generally, not just in trading. So my prayers finally started to be answered. I started to gain insight into how the market works. I started to gain insight into what makes a great strategy, the principles of risk to reward, how that when you lose small. When you win, when you are right, make a lot of profit. I started to realize that risk management is important, that my psychology will be affected by the amount of risk I have on a trade. If my risk is reasonable relative to the capital, my psychology will be balanced. A person who is trading, for example, $1,000 and enters one standard lot on a buy,
Mhm.
and a person who is trading $1,000 and enters 0.1 lot, one mini lot, even regardless of what the market does, their psychology will be different. Why? One person is over leveraged, the other person is less leveraged. So psychology is a function of the quality of your overall strategy. Kaz BJ is saying how important is developing a trading psychology versus a great strategy. I always say this. I've seen people say things like trading is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. Trading is 30% psychology, 30% strategy, and 70% psychology. Me, I personally believe that all of that is nonsense. Nonsense. Trading is all about the strategy. It's not about your psychology. You cannot trade sustainably if you have a poor strategy. Your trading strategy must be built on real factors that the market can exploit. If your trading strategy does not have an edge, your psychology is irrelevant. And I always use this example. Some of you have heard of trading software, expert advisors, EAs, trading robots. If trading was all about psychology, robots should never lose. But robots lose. So a robot doesn't have any psychology. A robot doesn't have fear. A robot doesn't have greed. A robot is not emotional. A robot is code. You code instructions and the computer carries out the instructions. So why does the robot lose? So trading is first about strategy. Now, when you have a proven strategy, other people have tested that strategy. It has gotten results for them. It has been back tested, forward tested, and proven over time that this strategy, if you practice it over time, you will be profitable. Then the issue of psychology comes in. So psychology is only applicable when the strategy is proven. Yes, but once you have a proven strategy, trading is all about psychology. The ability to discipline yourself, to wait for your perfect setup before you enter, and to wait for your preset exits. Right? So trading is all about the ability to wait until you see your strategy and your setup in the market play out, and then you enter. And then once you enter, the patience to wait until you exit either at your stop loss or your predetermined exit rules. So that's what I have to say with regard to psychology versus a great strategy. Yes, so back to the question of what I have learned about myself. I've told you what I've learned about myself. Now what I've learned about the markets. And this is really interesting. You really need to listen to this because you won't get this from anywhere else. I have learned that only two emotions, govern this market. Only two. Please listen. The market is a reflection of human psychology, investor psychology. And investor psychology is governed by two things, two emotions. Number one, the emotion of fear. And this is characterized by pessimism and by panic. Pessimism, panic. Well, it starts out as pessimism, and then this leads to caution, and then this leads to panic. That's how fear plays out in the market. You see investors watching the market, this guy, and then they start being careful. And then when things go bad, they're like, get me out of here. So you see panic. So fear is the number one emotion that drives this market. The second emotion that drives this market is greed. Greed. Now, greed, you see, greed is characterized by optimism, enthusiasm, and then recklessness. So every time you see the market go through the emotions of greed, investors are quite upbeat, they're optimistic, wow, things are looking good. And so they enter the markets with energy. And then after a while, that energy becomes recklessness. You start seeing them taking bigger and bigger risks until someone does something very stupid in a bid to make a lot of money. This is how the markets move. In 2008, subprime mortgage debacle. Why did the markets collapse? Fear. Before that fear, what was happening? Credit default swaps, CDO, what Warren Buffett calls weapons of mass destruction. The credit default swaps, CDS rather, credit default swaps, mortgage bankers were creating all kinds of mortgage instruments, securities that were risky, that were so risky, and investors were being reckless buying those assets. And that recklessness is what I call greed, right? And after a while, they became so reckless, then somebody started saying, come on, something is going bad here. So you now started to see caution, pessimism, and then total panic as investors started dumping all these assets. So what your job is as a trader, if you understand that, is to understand when the market is in fear mode and to understand when the market is in greed mode, right? Now, the reason I say this is because there are certain assets. I don't know if we're together. If we're still together about what I learned, please let me know. Is to understand what mode the market is in, because investors generally move through cycles of fear and greed. Now, there are certain asset classes, certain financial markets instruments, certain securities, certain currencies, assets. Now, these assets may be stocks, equities, they may be bonds, they may be precious metals, they may be cryptos, they may be currencies, whatever it is. There are certain assets that are more sensitive to fear, meaning if the market is in fear mode, you will see those assets responding. Investors will be focused on those assets. Now, if the market is in fear mode and investors are cautious or they are panicking, you will see those assets moving. Now, if those assets are moving, after a while, when the fear plays out, those assets will stop moving. And then after a while, when there's calm and there's peace, investors will start moving into the assets that show greed. So there are other assets that are more sensitive to the emotion of greed in the market. This is trading. Trading is simply the flow of value from assets that move when there is fear into assets that move when there is greed, back into assets that move when there is fear. That's why my models are called value flow models. So if you are going to succeed in trading, your job, and indeed the job of every family, is to understand what those assets are. So I use myself as an example to explain the Naira, right? As at 9th of March, those of you who follow me on Instagram, MH Gideon, we had that conversation. I woke up in the morning and I saw crude oil drop 30% overnight. Drop 30, then 40, then 50% overnight, and about 60% since January. But that morning when I woke up, Sunday night into Monday morning, I saw what happened and I just said, man, this is horrible. Crude oil had jumped at least 30%. Immediately, I did a post, everybody buy dollar now. I called up my BDC guy and we did a deal. We did at 359. The next day, we did at 361. The next day, we did at 363. As I was in the bank signing 360, I had signed 363. When it was time for them to do their own leg, they called back and said, I have to do 369 or they send back my money. And I was like, this is nonsense. In the banking hall, I had to still drop that extra 6 naira. Now, my bookie was like, how did you know? Well, when certain assets move, other assets that are related to those assets must move too. If you see a baby, a 1-month-old baby or a 2-month-old baby lying down in church, all neatly dressed, and there's nobody around that baby, right? You will know that the mother is nearby. Just carry that baby, then you will know that the mother is nearby. Or if that baby starts to cry, if a small child starts to cry in a public place, right? In a short while, you will hear the mother's voice. Why? That mother and that child, they have a co-relationship. That whatever happens to the child, the mother must respond. Whatever happens to the mother, the child must respond. You will agree with me that the relationship that a nursing mother has with her baby is stronger than the relationship a father has with his child, even though both of them have a relationship.
Absolutely.
So same way in the financial market, some assets, even though they are related, some are more closely related than others. Your job as a trader is to identify all the related assets and the emotion they relate with, and know when they are moving, so you know what position to take in the market. So fear and the assets related to fear, greed and the assets related to greed. You see all the news releases, fundamental data, corona. If there's coronavirus, what effect, what emotion will it trigger in the markets? Please type. If there's a pandemic, what emotion will it trigger in the market? I told you there are only two emotions that drive this market. So what emotion will it trigger? Please type to make sure we are following. It's going to trigger the emotion of what? Fear.
If you are there, type.
What emotion will it trigger?
Drop it in the comment. Let's see.
So when you know the emotion that a pandemic is going to trigger, your job is to find the assets that are sensitive to that emotion and wait for those assets to move and trade in the direction of those assets. That is all that trading is about. That is all that trading is about. No long story. I wish I knew this when I was learning stochastic, CCI, divergence, what else? Spike trading. All those things are just emotions. Sorry, are just commentary. The real issue is what is so any news that comes out, I just look and say, what effect will this have? Will it create fear? Will it spark greed? I look for the assets associated with greed and I wait for those assets. All right. So when there was corona pandemic, some of the assets that are sensitive to fear, if there's a pandemic, what do we see? Or if there's fear in the markets, we'll see gold, for example, gold will be moving higher. If there's fear in the market, you will see assets like equity indices, stock market indices, they will be crashing. So that's basically it. Now, another thing I learned, apart from the two emotions that govern the market, I learned that there are about 4 or 5 themes, economic themes that move the market. And I really, in the last 10,000 hours, learned about those things. Yes. So yeah, that's.
Okay. Wow. Fantastic. Sir, thank you so much. Now, this has been very, very eye-opening, very insightful. Thank you for sharing all of this with us. And guys, now you see how he demystified.
Oh, I think the internet issues. So I spoke about the two emotions that drive the markets. That's what I have learned, and the assets that are tied to those emotions. Then let me talk about the 5 themes. There are 5 investment themes. Okay, you were cut short, so I decided to talk about the 5 themes. But welcome back. So let me keep quiet.
Oh. Thank you so much, sir. Now, okay. I was just saying, guys, you see why we call him the ancestor? He just took all of those charts you look at, all of those charts people look at and have headache, and he just demystified it for you into simple emotions, fear and greed. So you know what happens when there's fear driving the market. You know what to do when there's greed driving the market. And so guys, you see, so if you are out there and you have been thinking, okay, this Forex, and I've been hearing this Forex thing, download the free ebook right now. While we are talking, open a new tab, open a browser, minimize it, go and download it and come back. All right, the content in that free ebook alone is enough to give you a good head start, so you understand what you're doing in the Forex market, guys. So thank you so much, Sasa. You are going on to something else.
Yes, I wanted to say that my trading changed when I understood that they're basically
Hello,
just two
sir.
emotions. Hello, I can hear you. I said my trading changed when I realized that it's two emotions that drive these market, any financial market, fear and greed. And then there are
Are we
five
still connected, sir?
economic themes. We're still connected. We're still connected. I
I think
can
the
hear
network is
you.
just harassing us this evening.
I can hear you.
Um,
If you can hear Ejimi, just say I can hear you, Ejimi. If you can hear Sir Gideon, just say I can hear you, Sir Gideon. All right, now there are five economic themes that drive the markets. And I say this because there's so much information out there. And every time information comes out, news comes out, something new comes out, everybody's like, what do we do with this information? All right, now there are five themes. The first theme, the very first theme is what I call risk on, risk off. RORO. Please write these concepts down. You can Google them. Of course, you may not find it said this way because these are proprietary to me. This is how I understand and this is how I communicate it. But you may see something similar that resonates. So, risk on, risk off. RORO. What does RORO mean in investing? It means that there are times where risk is on in the markets, meaning investors are willing to take risk. Of course, what is the emotion driving risk on? If risk is on, investors are willing to take risks. What emotion is driving that? And then if risk is off, investors are not willing to take risks. What emotion is driving that? So the first economic theme is what we call risk on, risk off. What I call risk on, risk off, RORO. You can Google it and educate yourself on it. The second, there are assets that move when there's risk on, and there are assets that move when there's risk off. Now, the second economic theme that drives the markets is what I call safe haven status. Safe haven status. What do I mean by safe haven status? Safe havens are like, if you're a Christian, should I use the word strong towers? Refuge, cities of refuge. When there are issues in the market, when there's fear in the market, people run into those safe havens. They carry their money, their value, their net worth, and they park it inside those safe havens. So sometimes it is safe haven that is driving the financial markets. Safe haven is driving the financial market. So sometimes it is risk on, risk off that is driving the financial market. People are willing to take risks. Other times, people are just looking for safe havens where to just rest their capital, rest the value, financial value, until the markets clear up. So that's the second economic theme. The third economic theme that drives the market is what I call dollar demand. Dollar demand. Dollar demand. Now, what do I mean by dollar demand? The US dollar is king. Please understand this. Because of what happened during World War II, how that all other countries were at war, but US was not at war. And the US made a lot of money from those wars by supplying ammunition, food, inventory. So after World War II, most superpowers were battered, but US was still in a good position. So US used that opportunity to capitalize and make themselves the world power and make the dollar the reserve currency of the world. Every country holds dollars in their central bank. Every country. So there's always demand for the dollar. So as a trader, sometimes it is dollar demand that is driving the market. It's not risk on, it's not safe haven status. For whatever reason, investors want dollars. So dollar demand, also called dollar dump. Of course, if you know what dollar demand is, you know what dollar dump is. So sometimes it is dollar demand that is driving the market. So the first is risk on, risk off. The second is safe haven status. The third is dollar demand. And then the fourth is FX rotation, Forex rotation, or currency rotation, FX rotation. Now, these are names I coined, but once you understand the concepts, you know how to search for them on Google. So what do I mean by FX rotation? I just told you that the dollar is always king and the dollar is always in demand. But there are about 7 other currencies that are superpower currencies. You have the Japanese yen, you have the Great British Pound, you have the Swiss franc, you have the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, And all these currencies, you have the Chinese renminbi. All these other currencies are also equally relevant and useful. However, the dollar is traditionally king. So when the dollar is not king, which currency is currently king? I don't know if that makes sense. When the dollar is not king, what currency is now king? That's what FX rotation is. There are times when dollar is not the currency in demand. We now need to use FX rotation to determine which currency is now in demand. This is the fourth economic theme that drives the global market. The fifth economic theme that drives the global market is inflation and interest rates. Inflation and interest rates. Inflation, which has to do with purchasing power, right? And interest rates, which has to do with how central banks respond to inflation using monetary policy. Inflation being when the cost of goods and services are rising fast, so that you keep needing bigger amounts of money to purchase the same amount of goods and services. And how that central banks respond to inflation using monetary policy, interest rates in particular. So these are the five economic themes that drive the global market. If employment is the issue, what we're looking at, employment will be expressed either through risk on, risk off, or through safe haven status, or inflation and interest rates, or FX rotation, or dollar demand. Once you know the asset classes that we use to measure these five economic themes, you have mastered trading. What you now have to look out for is things like your risk size, the amount of capital you trade, you understand? Because if you're trading $100, I mean, it's going to be hard to survive off $100. But if you have, say, for example, 10 million naira in your account, you can survive off 5% a month. That's 500K. So things like capitalization now come to bear, risk management and other issues, and technical analysis, how to enter, where to enter, and all of that. So I hope this is a summary of what I have learned in 10,000 hours of trading. And the specific assets charts that you look at to demonstrate these economic themes and these emotions in the market. So yes, that's it. If you have questions, I can answer. I think MH Gideon, sir, you're having a few challenges. But I explained this better in my free ebook. You can download it in the link. You can go through it. It will help you. So who has questions, please? Who has questions? Who has questions? Who has questions? I'm waiting for people to type their questions so I can answer. Alexander Ubaka says, really insightful. Kaz BJ says, dollar demand and dollar dump. Comfort Gideon says, inflation and interest rates, definitely. Dollar demand, FX rotation, exactly. Yes, so these are the themes that drive the markets. Ebenezer Adama says, thank you so much, sir. This was super insightful. Let me say something, guys. In the era we live in, because of nobody, you can't afford to ignore these issues. You can't say, oh, I'm a doctor, it doesn't concern me. Or I don't work in a bank, it doesn't concern me. I mean, look at Naira devaluation. It concerns you. So you have to educate yourselves about these things because your government is trading on your behalf. The central bank is trading the Naira on our behalf, and they're doing a horrible job. The Debt Management Office, the DMO, is taking steps that influence the Naira, and they're doing a horrible job. Economic policies, monetary policy, fiscal policy by the government is not going well. So you have to learn these things for yourself. They like to make you think it's hard. Guys, listen to me, I'm self-taught. I read design in school. I read design, environmental, industrial design, faculty of environmental design. But the fact that I knew that I can't leave my financial destiny to the hand of my central bank, to the hand of my government, to the hand of my economic ministers is too risky. So I said, let me read up. Let me train myself. Let me educate myself. These things are not hard. If you can learn how to drive, if you can learn how to use a phone, if you can learn how to use a laptop, if you can go through 4, 5, 7 years of education in school and learn things you didn't know anything about, you can learn financial intelligence. You can learn basic economics. All right? Okay. So that's it. If you
Okay.
have questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir. Oluwa Tomiwa Adio.
Yeah.
Says, for a person who is just entering Forex trading, can you help us with how to really make progress as fast as possible, sir? Okay, let me say something categorical. Yes, Forex trading is a skill that can reward you unbelievably. But I want to clear our minds of this belief that it's just something simple that you can master. It's not really true. You should be willing to spend at least 6 months to 1 year of core training and practice. Practice for you to start seeing results. I don't think there's anybody that enters university and says, sorry, lecturer, how soon can I get a job? Your lecturer is not going to listen to you because you have to do at least 4 years before you can start saying you get a job. So Forex trading is not a get rich quick scheme. It's just that if you master trading, there are few skills in the world that reward you directly and immediately, like trading. So how do you make progress as fast as possible? Number one, find a proven strategy.
Absolutely.
I spent 10 years of my life beating about the bush, well, not 10 years, but close to 10 years, because I was looking for a proven strategy. It was so hard. I eventually had to create my own after years of looking at different strategies. So the first thing is find a proven strategy, and that's the hardest part. Now, once you have verified that the strategy is proven, people have used it, they have gotten results with it. A proven strategy doesn't have to do with how big the grammar is around that strategy. No, it's not about grammar. Some people think that, oh, if the trainer or the strategy has a lot of big words in it, then the strategy is proven. No, just ask, who else has used this strategy and it has worked for? If he's a trainer, does he have students who are good? Can you talk with the students? Can you interact with the students? That's one. So when you find a proven strategy, the second thing is you now have to master that strategy. So a strategy can be proven, but you don't know how to use it. You don't understand it. So you have to spend time demo trading to gain mastery of the strategy, right? And as you're gaining mastery of the strategy, you understand the rules, you understand, you're watching the charts, you're seeing what's happening in the charts, so you're understanding the strategy. So discover a proven, get a proven strategy. Number two, master a proven strategy. After you master that proven strategy, and how do you know you have mastered it? Mastery is known when you can get a consistent percentage return, an average percentage return. So mastery is not your profitability. I've seen people who have doubled, tripled accounts. I know someone 4 years ago that turned $40, $4,000. Today, I think he's on the run from police, regardless of how profitable he is. You know why? He's not consistent. I don't make anything near those kinds of returns. But what I do it consistently. So and for me, when I found a trader who since 1986 has been making 5% a month, since 1986. And that trader has a private jet today. When I found out that 5% a month can make you own a private jet, I stopped stressing myself. You see all this double an account in a day, double an account in a month. I don't do all those things. If you hear me talk, you hear me say 100% in a year. You know why? If you are consistent with 100% in a year, I give you 3 years. The kind of money you'll be making after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if you are willing to use other people's money, if you are willing to use investors' money to trade, it's going to beat the regular job you have out there. All right? So how do you know you've mastered a proven strategy? When you have an average monthly return, it can be 5% a month, it can be 7% a month. Just know that the higher the percentage returns, the more mastery you need to sustain that kind of percentage returns. All right. Then the third thing you have to do after you get a proven strategy and you master a proven strategy is you have to master your psychology. Two people can be using the same strategy. One person has better mastery of his emotions and his psychology. That person will do better. And this comes by trading live. So you master the strategy with demo, but you master your psychology by trading live. And you don't trade a huge amount. You trade a small amount first, maybe $100. An amount that if you lose it, you will not be depressed and thinking of committing suicide or wondering where is your God. I was saying, Lord, I pay my tithes. No, just pick a small amount that will not bankrupt you if things go bad. And then you use that to master your psychology. And if you are able to replicate your results that you got on your demo, if you're able to replicate it on your live account, then you do that gradually, and then you resolve the issue of capital. How? By leveraging other people's money. All right? Almost all traders start out not having enough capital. It's normal for everybody because if you had enough capital, you probably wouldn't be thinking of trading. The reason why you want to trade is because you don't have enough money. So it's like the chicken and the egg. So forget the issue of capital first. Gain mastery. If you gain mastery, money will come. Capital will find its way to you. All right? So how much do you advise a newbie to start with when trading? I just said it. So invest an amount that you can have that is big enough for you to feel it emotionally when you are trading. An amount that is big enough for you to feel the emotions when you are trading, but small enough for you not to consider suicide if you lose it. I'll say that again. An amount that is big enough to feel the emotions of trading while you're trading, but small enough for you not to fall into depression if you lose it. That's the amount that is good enough. Someone says, what's your IG handle, Mr. Ejimi? Just look for at Ejimi, the profitable investor. I have over 100,000 Instagram followers. So you don't follow a scam follower, a scam page at Ejimi, the profitable investor. How much is advisable to start trading with? I've already answered. So you start trading on a demo account to gain mastery of the strategy. Then you move to a small live account to gain mastery of your psychology. Is it possible for the basis upon which it was proven to change? Yes, it is possible. Now, what people call a proven strategy, I don't know what people call proven strategies, but what I call a proven strategy is a strategy that measures fear and greed in the markets and a strategy that takes into cognizance risk on, risk off, safe haven status, dollar demand, FX rotation, as well as inflation and interest rates. Any strategy that captures these 5 economic themes can never change because these are the themes that drive the market. They can never change. Fear and greed will never change. Human beings were born with fear and greed, different levels of fear and greed. All right? So, but if it's based on technicals, moving average, if you see this line, do this. If this indicator does this, do this. Except the risk to reward is fantastic. That strategy will lose its edge over time. All right? And then if you are connected to the person that created the strategy, when that strategy loses its edge, the person will let you know. That's the power of mentorship. Mentorship is not just access to information. Mentorship is access to an individual that created the information, so that when the information changes, the individual will update you. All right? Abibola Kolade says, which broker do you advise? I have the 2 brokers that I use, and I let them in my Forex groups. I can't mention it here. Just join my free Forex groups. You'll see all the information there. The link is, if you sign up to my email address, you get it. It's in the ebook, exactly. All right. So how long do you advise us to trade on demo account before going live? Long enough to master the strategy. You don't want to be making stupid mistakes on your live account because you wanted to click 0.01 lot size. You now click 0.1 and you blow your money in a minute because you didn't practice long enough on demo. So you use demo to master the strategy, to master the platform, right? And you use live to master your emotions. So by the time you've mastered the strategy, you'll be seeing consistent results on your demo. Once you've been seeing consistent, profitable results on your demo, it's time to move to your live. Because if you demo trade for too long, you're deceiving yourself. Your emotions are not involved. Oluwafemi Michael Dari once says how to run accounts management for investors. I can't talk about that now, because now we're no longer talking about trading, we're talking about scaling, right? A person who's running account management has already been successful at trading. So this session is to discuss trading, not how to run a trading business and how to scale a trading business. But yeah, I offer advice to profitable investors who are trying to run accounts. So if you're already profitable, hit me up on my Facebook or on my Instagram or my Telegram, and let's discuss how to scale you up. All right, running a profitable account management business is hard work. It has nothing to do with trading, because now you're discussing investor relations, you're discussing regulation with regulatory bodies, you are discussing IT hardware technology. Your internet can't go off. You lose money, you lose millions because of 20,000 naira data subscription. So there are many issues. There are technology issues, there are regulatory issues, there are investor psychology issues involved in account management. All right? But you can Google it and you can also reach out to me. What's your advice to a total beginner who wants to start trading Forex? Watch everything I've said in this webinar again. And then download the ebook. I mean, that's my advice. The materials are right there on my website in the ebook, ejimeadegbe.com/10k hours download. Sir, I want to invest in your platform as I look forward to learn. Sadly, I don't invest for others, not at this stage. I used to before, I stopped it. I don't trade for others. I don't invest for others. If you ever see an online post where I openly call for investors asking with bank account details, is not me, it's a scam. It's a scam. In my personal name, no, it's not me. It's a scam. All right. I don't trade for others. I don't invest for others. If I'm even going to trade for others, which is rare, the amount is usually big, and that person should have been my student before. All right. So, sorry, you just have to. I only train people how to trade for themselves. Daniel Dotse says, thanks for insightful nuggets. In the face of COVID-19 disturbing the market drivers, what do you envisage will drive the market after the pandemic phases off? Nothing. COVID-19 didn't change anything. COVID-19 just accelerated the fear. People have always been afraid of dying before COVID-19. So nothing is going to drive the markets that has not been driving the markets before. COVID-19, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when the initial shock, the markets were very volatile. Things were moving further and faster. Asset classes were doing times 3, times 4, times, in some cases, 10 of their usual movement. So if something that would move 100 pips was moving 300, 400, 600 pips, that was all that the pandemic did. It made assets go faster, further. All right. So fear and greed will still drive the markets. Economies that recover fastest will have their currencies really being sought after. And their stock markets being sought after. The economies that recover fastest, or the economies that show that the government is handling the recovery process very well, economies that receive economic stimulus and tax incentives for their private sector, will see their currencies rebound faster and better than countries who are irresponsible towards the whole pandemic. So that's basically it. So countries that recover faster in terms of the numbers of people who are dying will do better. And countries that may not necessarily recover faster, but you can see their government is being proactive towards the management of the pandemic, those countries will do very well. Their currencies will do very well against other countries where the government is indifferent or irresponsible. So yes, that's basically it. Any other question rather that you need to answer? Did I miss any question? Kaz BJ says, how do you identify tricky brokers? It's simple. The first thing I look at regulation. In what country is the broker registered and regulated? There are some countries that are unknown countries as far as financial regulation is concerned. You have brokers that were registered in St. Kitts, Grenadines. I don't have an issue with these brokers, but I'm just telling you from a regulatory perspective, you want to trade with a broker that has regulation in the UK, that has regulation in Cyprus, that has regulation in Europe, MFID. So any broker that has FSA regulation, FSA of UK, right? FSA, FCA, Financial Conduct Authority of UK, MFID in Europe, CISEC, Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission in Cyprus, ISEC, Australian Securities and Exchange Commission, I think that's what it's called, and then DFA, Dubai Financial Authority. So just look at the regulations that they have. That's one. Number two, brokers that clearly have some level of age and staff. You can go to LinkedIn and check for the name of the broker and look at their staff. Check on LinkedIn the staff. Look at the CEO. Where did he used to work before? Is he an unknown person? Brokers where the owners are known, they don't hide, right? Brokers where the website shows you real human beings, as in you can, and then, so that's one, the regulatory perspective and the leadership of that brokerage. The second is the capitalization. How much money do they have? Are they really spending? Are they spending on adverts? If you go to Forex forums, do you see their adverts there? You go online, do they spend money? That's two. Number three, you want brokers who seem to have long-term plans. You don't want a broker that can just get up and disappear. Then you want brokers that other proven traders have been using. Don't get up and use a trader that you ask your friend, do you know this trader? They say the broker, they say they don't know. You ask someone like me, I don't know the broker. You ask someone that's been trading for 10 years, you don't know the broker, you're on your own. So these are some of the factors you should look out for. And then withdrawal time. Actually place withdrawals. Don't be compounding big money. Place small money, withdraw. I personally, I like working with brokers, international brokers that have Nigeria office. Why? With the Nigeria office, I can call, I know their staff, I can call their staff from time to time, how are you guys doing? If the staff is sounding angry, disgruntled, I know that, okay, something may be going wrong. Should I carry my money and run? You understand? So this is basically it. And then withdraw often. All this one where you are just keeping money bam like that with your broker, it's not too advisable. Be withdrawing when you want to trade, fund your account, make your profits and withdraw. All right? So that is what I have to say. Yeah. So I think that's basically it, except you have any other specific question that you want to ask. Let me tell you the future of trading. Trading is the future. Take it or leave it. What this pandemic has done is it has shown people that they have to start making money from home. It has shown people that relying only on a salary is not good enough. It has shown people that online business is something you can't afford to ignore. So more and more people will be interested in trading. When you become a thought leader in the trading space, it will improve your chances of making more money. All right? So every family should have a trader. Every family should have a trader that can manage money for them. Every family. All right? Charles McCarthy says, will you recommend expert option? Just run expert option through the guidelines I gave. Regulation, how well regulated in how many regions, capitalization, how much money do they have and do they spend, ease of withdrawal, how quick is it to get your money, and then Nigerian representative. You are in Nigeria for the large part of things, most of you. You don't want a broker that if there are issues, you don't know anybody there, you can't call, you can't walk in there. You understand? So run it through these options and know whether it's worth doing business with them. Sir M.H. Gideon. All right, let me say one last thing. That you're a trader doesn't mean you trade every day. I started making more money when I started trading less. I'll say that again. I started making more when I started trading less. A trader is not someone who stares at his charts every minute, says, oh, what's going on? That's not a trader. A trader is someone who knows exactly what he's looking for. He opens his computer. If it's not there, he closes his computer, he goes to do something else. All right? So disabuse your mind of this notion that trading is staring at screens all day. I trade, I don't stare at screens all day. I've been with you guys for how many hours? If I was trading volatility indices, I would be staring at the charts right now, but that's not trading. All right, trading in a way that is sustainable as the years go by. All right. Yes. Any other question? Let me touch quickly on how to recognize a Forex scam or a financial market scam or an investment scam. Let me touch quickly on that. If you want to know if something is an investment scam, number one, extraordinarily high returns. Once I see something above 5% a month, 6% a month, I run away. I'm not interested. Why? Even if it's doable, it is hardly sustainable. So extremely high returns is a scam. That's one. Number two, no clear leadership structure. All you see are fancy websites, you don't see individuals. It's most likely a scam because the individuals want to protect themselves for when things go bad. So you don't know them, you can't recognize them. So no clear leadership structure, no regulatory involvement. They don't mention regulators. If they mention regulators, they mention Corporate Affairs Commission. Corporate Affairs Commission registers companies. It doesn't regulate companies. All right. So that's another one. Number three, no clear value-driven model. What do I mean by that? How do they make money? They make money by getting more people on board. That's foolish. That's a scam. So this is how you identify a scam. Extraordinarily high returns, no clear leadership structure, management structure, regulatory structure. Number three, no clear business model. You don't know what they do to make money. You don't know what they do to make money. The only way they make money is by bringing more people on board. That's not a business. There are businesses today that have not had new customers in a long while, but the businesses keep running. So any business that requires having more and more new customers to remain afloat is not a business. So what is their business model? Ask them, how do you make money? If nobody joins today, will you still make money? If your existing clients remain the same, will you still be in business? Any business model that has to rely strongly on recruiting new investors is not a sustainable business model, right? And then high level of illiteracy. What do I mean by that? Most of the people involved are financially illiterate. When you find out that people who are financially savvy, I'm an investor, I'm looking for where to make money. So if there's an opportunity that is making money for people and you don't see me there, that should tell you something is wrong because I am an investor. I invest for a living. Someone else is a salary earner. Are you more interested in investments than me? Do you understand? So that's why you should follow financial investment thought leaders. Follow them on Instagram. I mean, there are people like all the people that came around for this Digital Wealth Summit. Of course, most of them are entrepreneurs, but they're also investors in a sense because they're all looking for returns. When you find out that those thought leaders are not doing it, the people that are doing it are all these get rich quick people, all this anyhow, we go make am, we go blow. That in itself is a red flag. All right, so this is very interesting. Yeah. Cash VJ, is it true that volatility index crash and boom? Yes, they are synthetic indices. They are not connected to any underlying assets. Let me explain what that means before I let Gideon wrap up. When you open your charts, right, any asset you see on your charts, if you are trading Euro USD, I can show you a physical euro note, physical. I can show you a physical dollar. So that thing you see on the chart is backed up by physical underlying valuable instruments. If you're trading crude oil on the charts, I can show you an oil rig where you literally see the barrels of crude oil. If you're trading gold, I can show you my wife's gold earring. So everything you see on the chart has a physical underlying instrument. If you are trading IBM shares or Facebook shares, I can show you the physical Facebook office, their headquarters. I say, see there. If you are buying Bitcoin, I can show you actual Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin holders who are holding Bitcoin. But if you look at crash and boom on the chart, there is no physical crash and boom anything anywhere. There is no step index anywhere. So those are synthetic indices. Synthetic indices have no real underlying instruments. They are simulated by the broker. And that's how you notice that only binary offers synthetic. If you go to FX Pro, you see Euro USD. If you go to Hot Forex, you see Euro USD. If you go to Eagle Global, you see Euro USD. If you go to binary, you see Euro USD. But you can only see volatility index crash and boom on binary. That should tell you that it's not a real asset. Does that mean you can't make money? You can make money off it, and you will make money. Many of my students are making money off it. But if binary refuses to offer that asset again, you will never see that asset anywhere else. All right? Thank you so much. MH Gideon, are you with me, sir? Are you with me, sir? Abimbola Kolade says, thank you so much for your time and your helpful and selfless advice. Thank you so much, too, for listening. I am grateful. I don't know if, I think we're still having internet issues at MH Gideon's end. Sir, please give us special discounts on ATM Plus. I'm sorry I'm not giving any other discounts. It's already too cheap in my opinion. When I started trading, first trading I did was $1,000. First handbook I bought was 50,000 naira in 2008. First trading I did was 50,000 in 2008. I can't even believe that in 2020, with the way the naira has been devalued, I'm still doing a 20K trade. 20K is about $45. I mean, people make that like this. And if you can't afford my 20K training, you should not be trading Forex. I'll say that again. If you can't afford my 20K training, if you can't afford 20,000 naira, you should not be trading Forex. Because Forex is not exactly the best skill to learn when you're in a terrible financial situation. No. If you're in a terrible, urgent financial situation, find something to sell or activate favor in your life. Remember my FSI model, how God blesses you in the kingdom. He blesses you through favor. He blesses you through selling. He blesses you through investing. You master favor first, then you master selling next, then you master investing last. If you don't know favor and selling well enough to produce 20,000 to pay for my training, you should not be trading for it. So I can't give any discount. If anything, I'm even trying to see how I can increase the price, because the price of everything is going up in the market. The price of the naira is going up. I mean, dollar is going up. Price of Indomie is going up. If everything is going up, me as a person, my own value too should be going up. So hurry up while it's still 20K. All right, welcome back, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, it has been an amazing session with you. I mean, okay, most of the time I was reading the comments here, even when I wasn't showing on screen, and it's just mind blowing.
Thank
you for sharing with us, sir. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm grateful. I think the internet is bad again. Okay, well, I think Sir Gideon has said thank you. I'll just wait for him to come back on. So, hello?
Yes. Okay, I'll just quickly wrap this up here. I don't know what's happening. It's interesting that Glow, MTN, and all of them just act up in the night. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Please,
in case we have to leave this country, we can make money from anywhere.
I mean, so guys, so now, so you see why you should take this seriously. So everyone, I want to do something quickly. right now, I wanted to jump in quickly on the Telegram group and share what one thing you learned from Pastor Ejimi's session this evening, the ancestor session, so that those who are there will make sure they come back and watch the replay. Jump on there, jump on the Telegram group right now, share one thing that you've learned from this evening's session. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be screenshotting every comment you make, and I'll be sharing it on my side so that he can see them. So guys, go there and let him know how amazing his session was. All right, and of course, now if you have not downloaded the free ebook yet, jump in there and download the free ebook. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been an amazing time having you on this World Summit. Thank you, sir, for coming again. And guys, thank you and God bless you.
God bless you. Cheers.
Oh, one question. How can payments be made for the ATM program? Download the free ebook and reply the email quickly so that you can make payment this night. All right, Kaz BJ, download the free ebook and send an email to the reply the email you get so that you can get the payment details on there. All right, guys, thank you. And remember, as discussed, next week we'll be releasing that video training where we'll be sharing simple businesses, not easy, simple businesses you can do to generate $1,000 a month every single month without fail. So be on the lookout for that resource. God bless you.